Hello, it is April 6th. Today we are going to be able to calculate volume using volume equals area of the base times the height. So this is the formula sheet that you're going to get when you take your Regents exam. It's the same one that you got last year, and what we need to use for this lesson is basically everything on this side. Well, I take that back. This lesson is really just here. Now, there's a couple of issues that we need to talk about with this reference sheet. And I think it's kind of ridiculous that they do this, but, it is what it is. So, this capital B means area of the base. It doesn't tell you that, but that's what it's meant to be. So what I want you to do is, what I want you to do is to cross this out, and in its place, put V equals area of the base times the height. You'll be a little bit neater than this, though. Same thing in pyramid. That B is area of the base. Now, in a pyramid, the base is a rectangle, which is length times width times height. Now, there's one more thing that's missing, so I'm going to have you write that in, and that's rectangular prism. V equals width. That was just school calling. Who knows what's going on? So in all cases, volume is the area of the base times the height. Basically, it's how much space the base of the shape takes up times how high it is. So we're going to utilize these formulas, and we're going to roll from there. Rectangular prism. I go to my reference sheet. I look at rectangular prism. It's right here. I write V equals length times width times height. It doesn't matter which one's the length, which one's the width, and which one's the height. I go to my calculator, 12 times 4 times 6. Twelve times 4 times 6, and I get 288 cubic centimeters. We're going to talk more about the units tomorrow as far as what a cubic centimeter is, what a square centimeter is, what a centimeter is. For today, we're just going to worry about calculating it. That's it. This lesson is very simple. You're just utilizing the formula and you're subbing into it. Let's just talk about a cube quick. What's special about a cube is where the length, the width, and the height are all the same. So if one side is 8.5, then all the sides are 8.5. Now a cube is a special type of rectangular prism, which again is length times width times height. So V equals length times width times height, 8.5 times 8.5 times 8.5. We go to our calculator. 8.5 times 8.5 times 8.5. 614.125 cubic inches. Let's move ahead to number 5. This is a cylinder. You need to know your shapes. The shape is a cylinder. So I go to my reference sheet. I find cylinder. Cylinder is V equals pi r squared h. So V equals pi r squared h. Now there's two types of questions when pi is involved. There's in terms of pi, and there's rounded to the nearest whatever. So let's kind of write the notes up top. if it says in terms of, I'm just going to write pi, then you don't type pi in. If it says rounded to whatever, then you type pi in. That's probably the trickiest part of this lesson, is this right here. You may have seen this before, not this year, but you may have seen it in the past in like 8th grade math. Oh, that's right, you didn't take 8th grade math. I don't know, you might have seen it in the past, you might not have. But if it says in terms of pi, or there are pi's in your answers, then don't type the pi into the calculator. If it wants your answer rounded, then you are typing pi in. So in this example here, either way, we're going to set it up the same way. V equals pi, the radius. Now the radius is half of the diameter. Hopefully remember that when you learn about circles. So the radius is 6. The diameter is 12. Diameter is not part of the formula. The height is 27. So because there are pi's in the answers, that's what in terms of pi means. So I'm not typing pi. So I'm going to pull up my calculator. I'm just going to type in 6 squared times 27. 6 squared times 27. And I get 972. So my answer is 972 times pi. Choice 3 is your answer. All right, if there's pi's in the answers, or it says in terms of pi, then don't type pi in, type everything else in, and then just put a pi at the end. Now, number 7, a cylinder is 8 centimeters tall. The base has a radius of 3. So 8 is the height, the radius is 3. Again, for cylinder, I go to my reference sheet, and it's pi r squared h. So I'm going to write V equals pi r squared h. In this case, I'm not cutting anything in half because it gave me the radius. If it gives me the diameter, then it's a cut it in half. Now, it wants my answer to the nearest tenth of a centimeter. So if it wants it to the nearest tenth, then I do type pi. If it says in terms of pi, or there are pi's in the answers, then I don't. So I'm going to go to my calculator, pi 3 squared 8, pi 3 squared 8 to the nearest tenth is 226.2. Now, shapes that come to a point, pyramid. When shape, again, this is on the reference sheet, but when shapes come to a point, then there's always a 1/3 in front. So cone and pyramid have a 1/3 in front, but it's on your reference sheet. Pyramid is right here. Again, we had to cross that other stuff out because that B is misleading. It means area of the base, and a pyramid is a rectangular base, which is why it's length times width. So V equals 1/3 length times width times height. Now there's a little twist here. It says the side of the base is 12. If it's a square base, I know that a square has all the sides the same. So the length is 12 and the width is 12. The height is 42, and I have enough information from there. This is a very common and important twist that a lot of students get messed up with it. If it has a square base, that means the length and the width are the same because you learned about squares in the last unit. So the length and the width are both 12. The height is 42. And again, that will always be the case if the pyramid has a square base. 1/3, 12, 12, 42. Go to my calculator. Alpha y equals enter. 1/3. 12, 12, 42, 2016 cubic meters. I would show you if we were at school, remind me once we get back to school, if you want to know why it's 1/3. I just don't have any of my materials at home to do that fun stuff. But kind of cool to show you why. Cone, might as well go over the cone. If I go to my reference sheet, cone is 1/3 pi r squared h. So we got V equals 1/3 pi r squared h. R is the distance from the center of a circle to a point on the circle. It gave me the diameter is 8, so the radius is 4. The height is 12. Now, sometimes I type in pi, sometimes I don't. What do you think? Type pi in or not? Think about it. There's your hint. And am I typing pi in? Yes. I'm not typing pi in if it has pi's in the answers. If I saw pi's in the answers, then I wouldn't be typing pi in. Or if it said in terms of pi, then I wouldn't be typing pi in. Let's do a more fun color here. Well, so again, because it wants the answer rounded, I'm going to type pi in. I'm going to pull up my calculator. Alpha y equals enter. 1/3 pi 4 squared 12 to the nearest cubic inch. That's 201. You might be saying, do I have to put the units? It's not a big deal right now to worry about the units. All right, one more thing to talk about. Find the volume of the sphere shown below. This is the only exception to area of the base times the height, because a sphere does not have a base. But it's simple. It's on the reference sheet. As long as you just make those couple of little corrections like we did at the beginning, then this is really pretty simple. Sphere is 4/3 pi r cubed. So I'm just going to write down that formula. Come on. V equals 4/3 pi r cubed. V equals 4/3 pi. Now this is a radius since it goes from center to a point on the circle. So I'm not going to cut it in half. I didn't specify what to round to, so that's my mistake. So let's just do to the nearest tenth. I should have told you what to round to. My mistake. Alpha y equals enter 4/3 pi. I missed the parentheses, but it's okay here. 904.8. So I want to talk about that. So this shape right here, it's a prism whose base is a triangle. So when I go to my reference sheet, I'm kind of looking at general prisms here. General prism is area of the base times the height. So volume equals area of the base times the height. Now we said that the base is a triangle. Do you know what the area of a triangle is? Well, you should have learned it in middle school math. However, it is still on the reference sheet. The area of a triangle is 1/2 BH. Now that's the base and the height of the triangle, not of the prism. So I'm going to do it off to the side. Area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. So the base and height of the triangle, the base is 6, the height is 4, and that's 12. So the area of the base is 12, the height of the prism is 10, so it's 120 cubic inches. So if it's not one of the 4 or 5 formulas that you have in the reference sheet, In general, volume equals the area of the base times the height. We go from there. Again, a hexagonal prism, that's a general prism. Area base times the height. Now it says that the area of the base is 12. So the area of the base is 12. Altitude's another word for height. And the volume would be 60 cubic inches. That's all we're going to do for today. Don't worry about 17 and 18. We're going to talk about that tomorrow. So your classwork / homework is to just do up to number 16. So let me drop that down for you. And again, in general, to find volume, it's area of the base times the height, and you're just utilizing your reference sheet for those formulas. You might have to make a couple of adjustments. And again, if it's in terms of pi or there are pi's in the answers, don't type pi in. If it's rounded, type pi in. And your classwork / homework is, what did I say, 1 through 16? Not the last two. Your quiz will be due tomorrow on this. We're just going to practice the same thing tomorrow. It's a couple little things to talk about tomorrow. But other than that, it's kind of a practice day. If we were in class, I would say, all right, move into your groups and practice the rest of the, for pretty much the whole period. If you have questions, let me know, and enjoy the rest of your evening.